What's up, everybody? My name is Nathan, and I'm joined by my best friend Christian here, and we are playing some Riftbound today at Game Arena. This is the first event that we are doing coverage for, which is very exciting. I'm really excited to see what we have today. We are starting coverage in round 4. A lot of logistics that go into running these things, so we wanted to make sure everything was good before we started running the coverage. But we have a very exciting match for our first match on stream. We're going to be doing round 4 and then round 5, and then cut to top 8 doing quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. All live and all covered for you guys to enjoy. So that's 5 rounds of Riftbound, 5 over here, 5 rounds of Riftbound that we're going to get to enjoy. And we can just cut right to our feature match area. We got everything ready to go. So our 2 players, on the left side we have Ian playing Ahri. I just briefly spoke to him after the conclusion of round 3. And he said Ahri was real, so I'm going to make him prove it. And then Troy, our resident Grandmasters League of Legends gamer, is very talented at video games, is playing Lee Sin. He was playing Lee Sin for all of set 1, and then he kind of got off it because I made fun of him for playing Lee Sin. And then I played Lee Sin at Nexus Night on Friday, and I 3-0'd with it, and the deck felt very good. I think it got significantly better with set 2, and I also think I believe he's just playing the best of list from Vegas, and that was only a couple cards different from the Bologna best of list. And the adaptations that these people have made to Lee Sin have made it feel, I'm not going to say like very good, but a lot better. What do you think about Lee Sin?
Lee Sin has gotten a lot better with this set, especially with the power that green and orange has gotten with this set. But it definitely feels great. I think it's maybe slightly below Victor, where Victor is right now, because Victor is kind of a good non-S tier deck that can compete with S tier decks. I think Lee Sin's right about there, maybe slightly below.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good the deck is. It feels pretty good to play, and Troy's pretty good, and he's 3-0 on it. We see him playing Lee Sin centered as the chosen champion. The other option for Lee Sin is very slow, very, very weak into purple decks, which is why I think you can't choose to play that one. So we're playing Lee Sin centered. Yeah, you just get rebuked. And then for Ahri's chosen champion, we see Ahri Inquisitive, the blue Ahri, which is interesting because in set 1, Ahri, you saw a lot of green Ahri compared to blue Ahri, because blue Ahri was very bad into Kai'Sa, right?
Yes.
You have Ahri on the battlefield, and it dies to literally everything.
Yeah.
And Kai'Sa's lost a lot of favor in the meta because Draven kind of overtook everything, and Kai'Sa has a good matchup into Draven, which you think that the deck that was the best deck that now plays on the new best deck would be even better position because it still has all the polarizing matchups in its favor from set 1. But the other best deck is Irelia, and you are just down extremely bad in that matchup. It is nightmare mode for Kai'Sa.
Yeah, the Kai'Sa Aurelia with not so fast being introduced, hard bargain being introduced, just makes Aurelia so dangerous. She can just protect Aurelia constantly.
Yeah,
keep the deflect. You have to pay the deflect to even target it. It's just gross.
Yeah, you have to spend a lot of time killing all these things. Yeah, you have to spend a lot of time killing all of Irelia's things, and putting a lot of resources into this, and the things still don't die. It's just a bad time for Kai'Sa. So, because Kai'Sa is not very represented, I think we have one Kai'Sa player here today? Or was
Kai'Sa,
it 2?
we have, I do believe we have 2 Kai'Sa players.
Okay.
I know we have one at the table 1 through 8, and then one below.
Yeah, he's 2-0-1, took a draw into a Victor player last round. So because Kai'Sa's fallen off, we can see Ahri Inquisitive, the blue Ahri, unlocked.
Yes.
You're allowed to play this champion now, this chosen champion. And you were not before because it dies to Hex Ray, it dies to Falling Star, any number of things. So
correct.
Very cool to see this card because I think Ahri Inquisitive is quite powerful. But so for play draw, we see Ian Gungnir on the left playing Ahri, choose to go first and leads on Lonely Poro, and Troy follows up with Lucian, which is I think it has my vote for, it's got to be top 2 or 3 best things to play on turn 1 going second. Lucian is extremely good in the current meta because his ability, when he conquers for the first turn, you ready. It's the orange Lucian, Merciless. When he conquers for the first time each turn, he readies himself. So that allows you to go into a battlefield, cap a point, and then retreat. So you avoid combat, which is very good into Draven. You don't want to be fighting Draven because he draws cards.
Yep.
And then we see some more development from Ahri. And then Troy on Lucian just says, I'm going to go ahead and punch into your Lonely Pora. Now this, depending on what Troy has to hand it, it looks like he does have a discipline, so he's not really going to get punished for this regardless. But yeah, so Ahri could have a discipline and could have on guard, right, to make this an even trade. Troy is going to say, no, I'm going to spend some of my resources to go ahead and conquer here. And both players actually draw 2 cards on this exchange because each discipline draws a card, but there's also a Dreaming Tree that both units are sitting on. So they're just exchanging resources right now.
They are playing double Dreaming Tree right now.
Yeah, so Dreaming Tree, game 1 battlefield for both these decks. Sometimes this is just how it lines up. I don't think we're going to see a situation like when there's a double tree game when Ahri was playing in set 1, because you get to flash off both and draw 2 cards off of one spell is crazy. So we see Lucian count the point, Troy evens it up at 1, and then gets off that battlefield, doesn't want to open himself up to anything. And normally you're not aiming to hold with most decks anyway, but the reason this is so good is because you avoid Riptide Rex, which Ahri could be playing here, which would just destroy the Lucian unless he wanted to spend a not so fast. But you might as well just avoid that entire exchange and then retreat it. Lucian's very safe. He just goes in and out, cast points. And we just see some development. So honestly, some pretty anemic development from Ahri in the form of a Stalwart Poro. Lee Sin does not care about this card, especially with the current board state. Lucian is quite ahead of the Ahri board.
Yes. Lucian is also really good into Ahri because a lot of what Ahri wants you to do is just to stay there so that she can blue spell them down to lower enough might for their units to kill. Lucian just completely ignores that. And the combination with the Lee Sin being able to on-demand buff to 4 might is actually huge for Lucian in this matchup. And then, like we saw earlier, Troy using Challenge to hit their backline so that the Ahri cannot develop his board at all.
Yeah, you want to... Yeah, the Challenge is very good because it allows you to stunt your opponent's development. Ahri is not going to be able to contest your board if they don't also have a board. So using the Challenge proactively there is very good, and we see Troy capping points and developing further. So just digging an even bigger hole for this Ahri to get out of. We've got quite a board over here. It's going to be very hard to answer all of these things efficiently. Troy not trying to hold battlefield, just saying, go ahead and take your point. I'm not looking to get into combat with you on your terms.
This is really hard for Ian to crawl back from. I mean, the second Lucian into first mate, being able to just double conquer on that turn, it just creates so much tempo, and he has to pull the singularity here. This
is actually very good. So we see a Stupefy, because Stupefy not doing a whole lot of work in this matchup, but because we're on Dreaming Tree, we can use it to exchange 1 card for 2 cards and use our mana efficiently. And then Singularity to clean that board up. Now all we have is a first mate. That's very good for the Ahri here. And Troy's not too far ahead. Troy's going to be able to go to 4 points here uncontested on this other Dreaming Tree. But there's a hidden card at the other Dreaming Tree, so you really don't want to push into this this Poro. It's 3 might with the tank, or with the shield.
Yep, the shield
ability, and then that trades into our 3 might guy. But the Ahri Legend reduces our guy to 2 might, so it's just a straight up losing battle. So we put a buff on this guy. If we send over here, this is an even trade. Now, what cards could this be? It is probably Zanya's Hourglass.
The hidden Zanya's. It could be Block, Wages of Pain.
It could be Wages of Pain. Wages of Pain would just turn it into an even trade. Zanya's would save the Poro. It could be Unsealed. No, not Unsealed Spellbook.
Consult the Past.
Consult the Past, yeah. I always get
Consult
confused.
the Past.
Yes, Consult the Past, draw 2 cards. I think as Troy, you're fine with anything. Block would be a little annoying.
I think it might be Block based on the Ahri. Ahri likes to hold, being able to... maybe it's not Block.
Yeah, I don't really block is not a very good card. So
Yeah.
right, so we're going to use the Stupefy, use our resources efficiently, right? Since we're getting that, we're not going to be spending that energy anyway. Just use it in the Stupefy to go up on cards. The Zanyas will save the Poro, and Troy will go to 4 points. Okay, this is really, really bad for Ahri. So we use that Charm, which is one of the most powerful cards in this deck, to say, hey, I'm going to clear your board. The Poro is actually dead now.
Yes. Being able to charm the unit back into the board after Zanya's or a GA proc is just, it's just gut-wrenching. It never feels great to be against.
Yeah. Charm is very powerful. And then we just see some more development from Troy. The Poros, not doing a lot of heavy lifting, right? They're very small. But the only way that Ahri can really get onto a battlefield and stop Troy from going to 6 next turn is a Watcher. And he didn't have enough resources to accelerate it. So we're just going to see some further development. And if there's no answers here, we see some stuns and some combat tricks from the Ahri, but no way to remove this first mate. This is really bad for Ahri because it's a common misconception that Riftbound is a game where the win condition is getting to 8 points, because the win condition is actually getting to 6 points. The first player to get to 6 points gets to posture to double conquer on the next turn most commonly. And it's really, really hard to develop and hold those battlefields while you're on the back foot if your opponent is at 6, just the way that the game works. The player who gets to 6 almost immediately conquers the next turn. So we see Troy going to 6 here off the hold and the conquer, and then now he has to make a choice. Do I want to let my opponent move to this battlefield for free, or do I want him to commit resources? He's saying, I'm gonna retreat this guy, and then now the best thing that Troy can do is develop. So, yep. So we see Ahri, and then it looks like his hand is Defy for sure, and then another Discipline. I'm not sure what the middle card is, but you just want to deploy as much in the back line, because now even if this Poro, you're going to make your opponent work to kill this Poro, because they have to take both battlefields from you, or else it's going to be very hard for you to stop them from taking the other one to go to 8. Mm-hmm. And all you do is develop as the player who's ahead here, who goes to 6 points. And now your opponent is tasked with pushing you off this battlefield, conking the other battlefield, which is not too difficult to do. We've got 2 bodies and some combat tricks, but then also preventing your opponent from taking both battlefields on their next turn, which is a lot to ask on 9 runes and 2 2-might units.
Yeah. Ian does have a lot of spells in his hand. I could see playing Ahri on Dreaming Tree, charming the Aurelia in to try to do something there. It's a lot of resources to commit, but Aurelia is going to be Troy's main unit when it comes to attacking on the next turn. That's an easy way to stunt the growth, but Ian is in a tight spot, but he has a lot of cards in his hand. He has a lot of options.
Yeah.
I don't see. I wonder if that Ahri is just not coming out for the game. It's very possible.
Yeah, the best bet is like, I think Accelerated Watch or Bellows Breath does a really good job here. Okay.
Blitzcrank, Charm on a Stick.
I am a big Blitzcrank hater. I think this card is dubious at best. But this is totally fine here. You don't want to target the Aurelia because you just have to pay for Deflect. First mate's coming in and is only 3 power due to the Ahri trigger. And we've got 8 power here on defense. So this goes from 3 to 5 versus 8. Dreaming Tree will draw a card, plus Discipline draw a card. I think this thing is just dead, honestly.
Well, the first mate's 6. He's buffed.
Well, Ahri trigger.
Yes,
so he's at 5.
5.
So this Discipline is only worth 1, but you get a card out of it.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is 3, 8 versus 5 currently.
Yeah.
So he's just okay. Nice. So the Discipline was just trying to save the Blitzcrank, right?
Okay.
Because our 5 might would trade with their 5 might. But then we see a Thwonk to stun the attacker, which is a lot of resources out of the Ahri. Now this looks like a win for Ahri. However,
yeah.
Okay, another charm.
That's what I was thinking. He's
tucking 2 for deflect.
Charming the Aurelia
Okay,
in.
nice. And we can't. So Ahri has 4 might and 3 might because of the Ahri, but we can't actually kill 3 might Poro because Blitzcrank has tank.
Correct.
That was a very good sequence. If we hadn't charmed here, it was going to be quite difficult, I think, to win this game. So Troy will go to 7 off of this hold. And then now we either have to conquer this battlefield or try to hold the other battlefield with this Poro. And I think holding is okay, but it'll be a little difficult because Blitzcrank will bounce, right? And then
Blitzcrank will bounce, chance of another charm in the hand.
well, Blitzcrank is a charm, right? So you could just charm the other thing over. Troy's still fine. I actually think that Troy has a turn here to just develop if there are units to develop. Mm-hmm. We have Lee Sin centered that we could accelerate, which it looks like we're going to do. And Ian on Ahri is completely tapped out. So we know that it's 8 that we have to get through. Okay. And yeah, I think this is that's a challenge. And then we get to push the Lee Sin. We at the very minimum could push Lee Sin in, trade with the Poro, and then push the other Poro in. So we're going to buff the Poro. Yep, which this is better because you get to reserve the Lee Sin. Oh, we're just pushing everything. Okay. Yeah, so you trade the Lee Sin and then... Because the Lee Sin has 5 damage mark on it.
Ian is tapped out. I can't...
No, this is just lethal, right? Because when the Ahri is tapped out here, has no resources to expend.
Yep.
And Troy gets the win the game because hold on the bottom battlefield, conquer the top battlefield for the 8th point. So that is... GG, and game 1 goes to Troy on Lee Sin. So, as the Ahri player, what cards could Ian have access to here to try to swing this matchup? Because that looked pretty difficult. And Ian was on the play there, right? Like Ian went first
play.
Yeah, and didn't miss units. Like curved out pretty well. Had the interaction. Drew a lot of cards off these Dreaming Trees.
I don't know what Ian plays here because this seems like a tough matchup for Ahri in general. Because Ahri's whole game plan is to develop a strong board to be able to hold a battlefield. And I think Lee Sin just kind of counters that. I think Lee Sin's able to challenge into your backline, into your base, is just super easy to disrupt board development. Mm-hmm. Sideboarding, maybe some frigid touches. I don't know if that's main board for him. That's all. I think all I see.
Yeah, I think additional copies of Singularity are enormous. The only real way to break Singularity is Not So Fast.
Yeah.
Troy is... I'm not sure if he's on 3 Not So Fast. He's definitely on at least 2. He was talking about playing a 3rd one. I don't think he added it, though. Mm-hmm. Singularity... We saw how big Singularity was in that game. That game would have ended...
Yes, Singularity...
much... I think that it would have ended on the same turn just due to you can only score 2 points a turn.
Yes.
But it would have been much, much worse. I think we maybe would have seen a concession out of Ahri before that because those 2 Lucians were doing incredible amounts of work. They just take points and then get back out, so you really can't interact. It serves as aggression to cap points and then also development because you get to reserve units in base for the push on the next turn.
Yep. I think a big thing for Ahri is like a lot of those units or spells that are going to help her a lot in this matchup are so late game, right? Like I know some Ahris like to put needlessly large Poro in their deck. Such an expensive unit.
You know people who put that card in their deck?
Yeah,
you should stop being their friend. that's an unhinged card inclusion.
For Ahri specifically, because the green Ahri gives you another point, so it drops the cost more.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't think Ian runs it. I think Ian runs a lot more tricks, a lot more spells.
Yeah.
But those cards that are like those expensive cards that can help you push over Lee Sin, they're too expensive in the green-blue color archetype. Orange has access to a lot of early game kill spells or early game spells that are going to help control the board, like challenge and things like that. And also, Lee Sin is great at being slow as well, playing to the mid game with ramp and buffing their own units. I really do think this is a hard matchup for Ahri in general. Ian's probably going to play first. Our battlefields are, what is that, Willow and spend a buff, draw a card.
Yep, Grove of the God Willow for Ahri, which is when you hold here, draw a card, which is exactly what Ahri wants to be doing and not really what Lee Sin wants to be doing. And her Monastery of Harana, which is when you conquer here, spend a buff, draw a card. So what you're going to see is that Lee Sin's cards are not very good at drawing other cards.
Yes.
So you really have to include all of the battlefields, which is what you will see if we go to a game 3. Every single one of these battlefields in the Lee Sin deck says draw a card on it in some
Okay.
way, and you need to do that because the Lee Sin deck does not have access to good ways to draw cards. There's a couple of cards you could play, but they're pretty clunky. Right, so for Ahri, going first because lost game 1, chose to go first, we see a Zanya's Hourglass going first, which that's pretty good. That card is very good.
Yeah, Zanya's is a great card. It's a pretty decent card to drop on turn 1, especially if you're playing units that are 3/4 might or 3/4 energy units. You can't get them out on the first turn. Zanya's is great. Stops challenge, not immediately, but it stops challenge from disrupting your board. If Troy's playing gear, he has to focus it to the Zanya's first, spend more resources killing it before it kills a unit.
Yep, it's just a proactive way to save a guy.
Yes.
Which is very, very good. And then, like I said for Troy last game, going second, the best thing that you can play in the Lee Sin deck, and one of the best things you can play going second in the game, barring Obelisk of Power.
I was about to say
right?
Obelisk Draven.
Yeah, that's a little different. On 3 mana, on your first turn, one of the best things you can play in the whole game is this Lucian Merciless. It is crazy. This card's nuts, right? We see it gets to conquer for free, and then also go back into the base. So you're safe from this Ahri because you would just lose this combat unless you have more tricks. So it services as the aggression to gain your points and develop your board. It's a very safe unit. It's so good, and that's good on this turn cycle because Ahri is looking to conquer a battlefield and then develop, and you get to go to the other battlefield with the Lucian, and then developing this Aurelia is nuts because this card's very hard to interact with Ahri.
Yes. Troy choosing to drop the Ahri turn 2. Great option, honestly. Ian doesn't have enough resources to kill it immediately unless he drops Rocket Barrage. Is the only thing, right, that he can use to kill it?
Yeah, and even then, that's like...
It's so expensive.
It's pretty hard to justify. So this Aurelia is extremely good on this turn cycle because Lucian gets to conquer Monastery of Firana for free. We could buff it with Lee Sin Legend and then draw a card, right? But the reason this Aurelia is so good is because we can push it into this Ahri, right? As long as we have tricks to counteract the reverse buffs, if you will, the debuffs on it from Ahri Legend and Ahri Chosen Champion. Ahri Legend does not target, but Ahri Chosen Champion, the blue Ahri Inquisitive, its ability does target, so you'll have to pay deflect cost if you want to give the attacker a -2 there.
Yes, and it will not feel great.
Yeah, so we see some disruption from Ahri, Charm to take out this Lucian. Troy's tapped out, it just gets eaten by that Ahri. So that's very good for Ahri. And if this Aurelia is able to push over this Ahri, if that's what we choose to contest, there's Zanya Hourglass is there to save it, right? So it's not even fully answered.
And when we talk about like units that are like some of the best in the game, Aurelia is probably one of the best units.
It's extremely good. It's very, very good into decks that are looking to interact because Ahri doesn't have any spells that just say kill a guy, right?
Yeah.
It's all numbers interaction. You're looking through might or spells that damage or effects that reduce might to push over these things in combat or clean them up with like Singularity, Wages of Pain, things like that.
And Aurelia loves to be in decks where the Legend interacts with the champion in general.
Yeah.
Yasuo Legend being able to push it +1, buffing it, giving it +1 for that.
Oh, this is really aggressive. So we could have seen a very safe play to put Troy on even points and just go to the Monastery of Firana and draw a card. So we put a Dorn's Blade and a buff on this Aurelia, which gives her +2 just from the targeting it. And then also we see the additional +1 from it being untapped at the start of the turn. It just gets +1 when you start your turn because it's readied, right? As long as it was exhausted, you ready it, so it gets +1. So this Aurelia's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that is
10 might unit turn 3.
many orders of magnitude bigger than this Ahri. So this is good, right? This doesn't cleanly answer the Ahri because of the Zanyas, but it gets the Zanyas off the board. Yep. And this Ahri, even after we pass, is still going to be 7 might. It's going to be difficult for for Ahri's deck to answer this, even with the Ahri Inquisitive in play, without just trading.
So I believe Ian did pay Deflect to minus it to 7.
Yep.
He did. He used a Stupefy, so it's
Well, the Stupefy targeted Ahri.
Ahri? Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
But it did get -1 from Ahri Legend, right?
So it is 7.
Oh wow! So this
Okay.
is, I actually don't know how good. I don't think I like this very much.
Yeah. Thwonk is a desperate play. Thwonk is
Yeah. So Thwonk stuns it.
Thwonk is hard into matchups like this where they're just able to pull either counterspell or a spell that just
Yep.
negates the Thwonk. And there's the
this
charm.
This was the charm is. Oh, this is on a separate turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is this.
Yeah.
This is the same turn.
Yeah, he's charming the Ahri back
Well, this
in.
doesn't do a whole lot because the Irelia is stunned, right? So
Oh,
the
yeah.
Ahri doesn't do combat damage here. So he's noting deflect, like, hey, to target this thing you have to play deflect. You can choose to not pay the deflect cost, and the ability just fizzles, right? It doesn't
Yep.
it doesn't resolve, which is what we see him choose to do. I'm actually gonna pause the game here because the Ahri was
Yes.
the Irelia was stunned for the
Yes.
whole turn. It's not just a combat, so I'm gonna go try to get this taken care of.
Yep. While Nathan is over there clearing that up real quick, a little clarification. Thwonk stuns the Ahri for the rest of the turn. The Ahri finished being stunned, and then Troy responded with challenge to kill the unit, completing that combat. Stunning does not get removed from the unit. Because even though Thwonk says stun an attacking unit, the challenge was played. Stunning challenge bypasses stun. Stun stays on the unit even though they are no longer the attacking unit. And so when Troy charms the Ahri in, the Ahri doesn't take any combat damage at all and would just bounce right back.
Yep. So I mean I've seen that happen before. That's a pretty honest mistake to play. Troy immediately recognized, oh darn, I'm still stunned. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Because it's really uncommon to see a stunned unit get into combat multiple times in the same turn.
Yes.
Especially when the stunned unit, that player is the one initiating the combat through something like charm.
Yes.
That's very unusual. That's a pretty honest mistake to make.
And a lot of players also think that stunning gets removed upon healing.
Yeah. It actually lasts for the entire turn. So
correct.
if you're attacking and you get stunned, and then you get recalled to base as a result of both players having units at the end of the combat.
Yep.
You're still stunned. If they charm you in again, or that ride the wind happens, or any way that unit gets into combat again on that same turn where it was stunned previously, it's still stunned. Actually, that status isn't removed because the unit leaves combat. It doesn't do combat damage this turn. The reason to notate that combat damage doesn't get dealt this turn is important is because we saw that Thwonk happened, right, and then challenge happened.
Yes.
Challenge is not combat damage.
Yep.
So being stunned doesn't prevent challenge from resolving like normal and the unit doing damage. It only prevents combat damage.
Correct. And using challenge like that it makes it very obvious on how you just forget the stun is there too.
Yep. So challenge works through the stun. That was totally fine. It's just when we charm the Ahri back, that effectively doesn't doing anything.
Yes, it would just bounce the Ahri back into the base.
Yep.
Unless.
Yeah. To reference Chad, the challenge killed the Ahri, which popped the hourglass, and the Ahri lived through the combat because the Aurelia was stunned, so it doesn't do combat damage. And then the reason that they had put the Ahri into the trash is because of the charm, but because that's a combat happening to result in killing the Ahri, that doesn't actually work because the Aurelia is still stunned for the rest of that turn.
Correct.
Yep.
So Cameron was just in there helping clean up, restoring the board back to, or they'll passed, right? They passed. Ian played his turn, so now it is Troy's back.
So Ian is right now trying to just play, recoup some of those resources because he tucked, I think, 3 or 4 runes on that last cycle to try to answer this Aurelia. It didn't answer the Aurelia, so even though we still have this Ahri, and Troy, discarded a charm for no reason effectively and tucked a rune, is down those resources. Troy is still quite ahead here because this Aurelia is very large in a chart. It's gonna be difficult for Ahri to answer this thing off of this low resources.
And I wonder, does Troy have something that can? Well, obviously we know Troy has the charm in his hand, right? He could just charm Ahri over right now.
Yeah. So charm is a way to, with the unit we have on board, we want to get this Aurelia in combat with this Ahri because the Aurelia is absolutely enormous. There are two ways we could do that. We could have an additional copy of charm, which we do see, or we could which the more effective application to have would be Aurelia, retreat, and then first mate to ready the Aurelia, which gives her an additional +1 from ready and an additional +1 from being targeted. So actually readies her and gives her +2, which is it's just insane. This Aurelia card is, I don't know. 3
energy, play a unit, and give a +2 to another unit.
Darts on the dartboard card design. It's very, very powerful, which I think is what we're going to see here. Yeah, so we're going to see the.
He's playing.
We're playing Poro. Okay.
He's opting to just develop the board.
This is totally fine. Yeah, don't use a charm now because, like at worst, Ahri is going to point parity. You don't gain any additional points from using this charm. I like this quite a bit. This is what you want to be seeing. You want to see people getting to even point intervals if they can, or taking the safe points when they can, and then developing because. Riftbound, every deck is a mid-range deck, pretty much. You're looking to exchange your board position and their board position. It is all about posturing and playing around that number 6 for those 6 points. Like I alluded to earlier, the win condition is getting to 6 points, not 8 points.
Correct. You always want to be within 2 points of victory before you commit to a win. And
here's the Blitzcrank. Here's the Blitzcrank game. We do have 2 resources, so something like a Not So Fast could target this.
He is spending 2, so he is targeting.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. So spent 2 power to pay for the Blitzcrank plus the deflect, and then Troy said, "Haha, I have this counterspell."
Not so fast into defy.
And then the counterspell got counterspelled. So then we see Aurelia push in here. Aurelia is 4, 5, 6, 7 power -1 from Ahri Legend, so 6, and then. Did we see Ahri?
He hasn't tucked a rune yet.
Right, so I think he's debating now if he wants to tuck a rune on the Ahri, but he doesn't need to because he currently wins the combat rate. 7 is less than 8 total. We can't kill the Ahri Inquisitive because Blitzcrank has tank, so we have to do the damage to that first. Which, Blitzcrank, answer this Aurelia.
5 energy, 2 power, or 6 energy, 3 power.
Yep, that's pretty good. And then
kill Aurelia.
And then we see Ahri Inquisitive being moved back to base. So not opening this thing up to combat because
keeping that thing safe.
Recognizing that we don't have a way to protect this, likely trying to play around Lisa and centered. But this is really good for Troy because Troy gets to go to 5 points here, retreat the Lonely Poro if he would like, and then which I believe he should. And then if we were going to play that Lisa and centered anyway, we could just develop it, right? We don't have to accelerate it and spend those extra resources, but. It looks like we have another Aurelia, so the party never stops.
With the this one's not an alt art though.
Yeah, we got flying swords everywhere.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, he can also Ian has 1 rune open. Play Aurelia, challenge Aurelia to Ahri.
Yes, I think that. I would not do that. I think you want to be as patient as possible because you are already ahead and you have many more resources than your opponent. And when you're in spots like this, when you're up on points and you're, I think they have about the same number of cards on hand, but when you're up on resources and you have, you're up on points, you want to make your opponent act first.
Yep. Buffing the Aurelia.
Yep. So we're gonna play this Aurelia to the Grove of the Godwillow, buff it. And then we could see the challenge now because now there's no way to save. On guard doesn't work,
And
okay, this thing is she is so
so he might be ripping that challenge.
Yeah, so this is 9, and I like challenge here. Now. Okay,
charm.
Charm's good. We do have to pay that power, right? So he pays the power. We're gonna charm this thing, and then he says I'm not even gonna bother moving to the battlefield. I'm not gonna pay deflect. You killed her. She's dead.
So I didn't even see the charm in his hand. The charm's a great idea. Feint a rune up in case you have defy.
Yeah, I totally like this. Challenge can answer.
Challenge and
anything.
Charm being in the same deck is so strong.
I was talking to Troy about this the other day, that I think Lee Sin was pretty weak hero. I think most people would agree on that.
Yep.
And then when I played this version that had 3 Charm, 3 Challenge, it seems very obvious in retrospect, but they are just so good.
They're just so good together.
They're very versatile removal spells. And Charm is it's a fight or flight sometimes too, so you can push a large guy off a battlefield and just take it, and there's not really anything your opponent can do about it. So those cards are very powerful, and every time we see one of those cast, it feels like you're doing some bad things to the other player.
Ian is fishing for cards right now, disciplining Troy's units so that he can draw a card right now.
Yeah. So we have a couple. Yeah. Oh man, this is. I think we'll just. I'm surprised we didn't see concession in that spot. So we're gonna go to 7 here, and Troy has 2 options, in like a macro sense for this turn. You either keep both units on battlefields and try to hold, which will be essentially impossible for Ian to answer, even if Troy has literally nothing, because the best thing that you could have is like, you'd have to have Singularity plus a way to reduce the Aurelius power, and even then you're talking 4+ runes just to answer this thing.
Yeah, I guess you also run into the risk of, if you pull everything back, maybe he bellows breaths the Boros.
Yes, you have 2 avenues of victory, right? You either hold both battlefields, or you full retreat into base and then aim for a double conquer next turn. And your opponent has no board position, so they're not able to contest you on either side. And I think the way that Troy's navigated this match, or this specific game, it would be very difficult to dig out of this as Ian.
Yes.
I'm surprised we didn't see a concession.
We know
Ian is smart enough to know that he's medium well at this point. He's very cooked.
He might scoop right here.
It's a second Blitzcrank.
Yeah, I think he runs 2.
That is lunacy.
I love Blitzcrank. You got to use those skirmish promos for something.
I have 7. Do you want some? You can use.
I'll take them. They're climbing on the market.
What are they, like 35 cents now?
No, they're like $1.50.
Oh baby.
Yeah, man.
Blitzcrank stonks.
People don't got access to Blitzcranks.
I don't think there are a combination of cards in blue-green
right now
that could dig out of the spot. You need to answer to my guy.
He has 8 runes right now. That's a vile Maul next set.
Yeah, does that even answer both battlefields?
It's ambush. Oh, no. Not both battlefields.
Well, you can't ambush to a battlefield where you don't have units.
Is that how it works?
You can ambush is you can play this unit as a reaction to a battlefield where you have units.
So it's just the red Rengar thing?
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
This is troublesome for Ian. He's trying to scan for an out right now. He has Singularity in his hand, and he can't see it.
They have time. Yeah, they have plenty of time left. I appreciate the player taking the time to say, do I have any outs?
Yes.
And normally I will concede a game when it is not possible for my opponent to mess it up. And Troy could fall asleep and the game's already over, right? We can't push him off battlefields. He just goes to 9, right?
Yeah. Even you play. Yeah, you can't do anything there because the only unit he can accelerate right there is a Thousand Tail, and he has 3 on a battlefield, so you can't even Singularity the battlefields. Yeah. That is rough. Troy proving that Lee Sin can compete very well. Lee Sin looks like a very viable threat. I'm excited to see Lee Sin go into some of these more meta decks, your Dravens, your Aurelias. Trying to see what you're able to do there. Mm-hmm. I wonder if the Lee Sin does struggle into Victor, though.
I think that Lee Sin would probably struggle into Victor. I think that you're not so fast are doing a lot of the heavy lifting in that matchup because Decree, Bellows Breath is very difficult to deal with. Decree is
so awful.
I know that Troy was considering playing even multiple copies of Windwall.
Yep.
For Imperial Decree, because there's really not a way around it. Lucian is very good because you get to get in and out, and I think that is probably it's like the key
the best
part of the
thing
matchup.
To play for there.
Yeah, but we're gonna cut to a Be Right Back screen real quick, and I'm gonna see if I can get Troy in here for a quick interview. I think we have some time before the next round.
Let's do that.
Cool. All right, what's up? We are back. I am Nathan, and I'm back with my other best friend, Troy. I think I'm going to call everyone my best friend today. So we just saw an absolute slaughter from our resident jungler, Lee Sin. How do you feel about the events that transpired out there on the Rift?
Yeah, that wasn't very close. I think I saw Challenge and Charm in both starting of my hands from both games, and I.
Yeah, we were talking about how Lee Sin I think was a little weak before, and then now that I know we've been talking about this the last couple of days, but I think the inclusion of, we recognized very early in testing that Challenge is the best card in the deck. You need to interact with your opponent's boards. Your guys are generally stronger than theirs, and Challenge uses that to your advantage. And then I just never put Charms in the deck. And then as soon as I saw people were playing 3 Charms, I'm like, what? That makes so much sense. And I played it, and it felt great, and it looked great. And
yeah, it did feel really great. The Challenge got around the Flonk as well. That felt really good.
Yeah, we talked about that. That stunning a unit prevents it from doing combat damage, but Challenge is not combat damage, right? So that was a really good application. You did it in the showdown to answer the Ahri, which answered the Zanyas, and then we saw the judge call that we had called out, which that's very understandable.
That was my fault. And then Ian also forgot that my guy was stunned, so we just kept playing for like 2 rounds, and then we rolled back.
It's very hard. It's very uncommon to see a stun unit get into combat multiple times. I've seen people make that mistake, here and there, but I've made that mistake before too.
I should probably invest into some tags or something to put on, just so I can remind myself. But yeah.
What did you think going into that matchup? Did you have to adapt anything in the middle of it?
I sideboarded a few cards. I didn't have a lot. I had a set that I brought in. I think it could be good maybe to break some holds, because I know
I think set is probably, like we discussed, I think set is probably good into non-purple decks.
Yes, yeah. So the only thing I really worry about bringing in set is Thonk, and generally you can play around it with the not so fast. And
were you still on 3 copies of Irelia?
I took out 1.
You took out 1? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you told me.
I think that's what I would normally. Yeah, I think that's normally what I would do. But Irelia is crazy, and we saw your 2 copies of Irelia literally just like carry the whole team, right?
Yes,
in that last match. Just straight 1v9 from Irelia.
The last match was very unfortunate. He didn't hit a 2-drop, and then he had to play Ahri on turn 2, which deramped him. So I didn't have to play around Singularity the next turn, because all I had to do was just play Irelia in base and just. I knew that he couldn't do much, or he would have to tuck a lot of runes to kill it.
Yeah, I think the pivotal turn for that game. Like I think that Ahri was in a reasonable position until you put a longsword on it, and then we had to tuck 4 runes, I think, to try to kill this thing.
Yeah, and then
it didn't die.
Yeah.
And as soon as we tuck half our runes to kill a unit, and the unit doesn't die, it feels like a pretty impossible hole to dig out of. So you are 4-0 now, right?
Yes.
The Lee Sin GOAT representing. How do you feel going into top 8? What's what matchups are you looking to dodge?
Mainly Draven.
Really?
I think my main board is pretty good into Draven. I don't have to tie too many cards in. It's just not a fun matchup to play against. Kai'Sa is also another one that can be a little scary.
I know we have 2 Kai'Sas in the room. I think one is doing quite well, and then a couple of Dravens I think are doing all right. We have a good mix of the metagame.
Yeah, I played against a strong Ezreal player as well, and that matchup felt like it felt good. I played it in Vegas a lot, so I'm experienced in it. But I had really good lines in that. But I think if I didn't draw that well, I might have took a loss in the last round. But
yeah. Well, happy to see you doing well on Lee Sin, and I think we will take a short break before the 5th round. I think that we will feature. I'm gonna try to put somebody on feature match who is playing a win and in. I'll have to look at standings before the next round. But Troy, thank you for being our first feature match, and
thanks for having me.
Hope to see you in the top 8.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.